Oh, we are back. What a delight. Episode 401. I'm introducing it. Hey, Mike. I'm
Hey,
Mike,
Bobby.
And I'm Mike.
No, you're Bobby.
Right.
Or am I Bobby?
We'll just go with that.
Now I got to be good at everything?
We should really
God
get our
damn it.
shirts embroidered with our names so we know what the hell we are. Whatever. Nobody can see it. It doesn't matter. Everybody thinks we're a bunch of retards. Oh, you can't say that anymore. My kids told me you can't say that.
No, you can say it.
You used to say that all the time.
You can still say it. You can say anything.
It's true.
It just matters, if you don't give a shit.
Oh, and there goes the listeners.
Okay, oh, sorry. All right, well, for our non-retarded listeners out there, hello, everybody in podcast land.
So we are wrapping up the year, as we said in the last episode. This is episode 2 of that organic peroxide you see below. But we are going to be at Massachusetts finishing up the year in September. Come and see all the shenanigans and hijinks that we bring in to that show. They give us the carte blanche to do it. It's at Gillette Stadium. It's going to be insanely cool. And
they actually have given us... They've given us no permission. We just show up and do.
Yeah. Remember the first time we were there, we almost burnt down the hotel?
Yes. Me specifically, yes.
Yeah. We were playing with oxygen, and we were showing demos, and then the smoke.
I blew my Pyrex container apart because, a 2-inch strip of material is good. A 5-foot roll shoved in there must be a whole lot better.
Yeah. That's more gooder. I love that stuff. So... that's one, the Hazmat Happy Hour. If you're a specialist, if you're not a specialist, go get your specialist, because that gives you access to a bunch of stuff. Like, you can see the video of this. You get to see it as soon as we record it and I edit it, which is usually really quick. You get to see a whole bunch of extra stuff, like premium stuff, the nuggets, a lot of jazz. So get your specialist, and that also gives you access to the Hazmat Happy Hour, which you can find at thehazmatguys.com/happy. And that happens the 4th Thursday of every month at 1900 hours. That's our little give back session. And it's like the Mind Trust. It's a closed session, no recording.
Right there. That's the key. Closed session. It's like you're sitting talking to a bunch of guys from around the country at the bar. Nobody brings anything outside. If you've noticed, you go back to all of our episodes. We'll talk about a topic, but that's it. We don't discuss any details. If it's whatever happens at the happy hour stays at the happy hour.
Yeah, so it's a great time. So all that being said, we are continuing our endeavor down this organic peroxide hole, and I think I'm here to serve it up, because we were talking in the premium section, which is Freemium. Go check that out. You can see the video set. Yep. We were talking about some mitigation techniques using acids and bases, but when you're dealing with this thing, you have to be familiar. I don't know why that just tripped me up. Familiar with proper containment procedures like isolation, like sealing and securing areas to stop the spread and the escalation of the incident.
Yeah, and this actually holds true to both the factory setting, or like the commercial industrial setting, as well as the transportation setting, right? So for the industrial setting, that factory setting, this is where your integration and your communication with the industry, the actual facility that is there, is going to become super, super critical. Before any incident, any incident that is going to happen, you want to have multiple things in place, and these are a few.
I said this in the last episode, and I said it as a passing thing, but I said that when people deal with organic peroxides as in work, they know how badass these things are, and so find those people. It's pretty common knowledge and common sense for people that are familiar and are working with them. They are familiar with it, much more familiar than you are.
Yeah,
utilize them.
Yeah, and if you meet them ahead of time, you become familiar with those people. And if you know somebody, you're going to work a hell of a lot better together if you've already met than in the middle of this crazy-ass incident, right? So take the time to get to know these people. Take the time to understand the materials that they have on site, because it's not enough. Said this in the last episode. It is not enough to just be like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I understand organic peroxides. Every organic peroxide is a little bit different, and it has to be dealt with properly.
Yeah, it's even their safety measures. Like, I'll give you a quick example. I know I've mentioned it in episodes in the past, especially going back to a couple of years ago, but there was a organic peroxide plant when we went down to, we were deployed with New York Task Force 1 to Hurricane Sandy. No, it wasn't Sandy.
No, that was us.
No, it was the one in Texas. I don't. It was in 2017.
Oh,
I don't
it was
remember
like
Harvey.
Walter?
Harvey. And Arkema went boom, and because they made a lot of volcanic peroxides, and because the water flooded the generators let go of the refrigerators stopped cooling and it exploded. And so, what are your safety measures? You know, what do you have in place to prevent injury to you or your team, whatever?
Yeah, if you can understand what they're doing, right, and then in the opposite end, that they should understand what is expected of you, right? Like when you arrive on scene, what are your roles going to be? What are the things that you're going to do, right? You should understand what they think you're going to do, because there might be a gap there where somebody's like, well, wait a second, I thought you were going to do that. And they're like, no, I thought you were going to do that. And everybody's like, well, shit, who deals with this?
Well, that's going to address any deficiencies you may have in your toolbox.
Oh, that's true too.
So that's going to be like, oh, we need a bridging tool to put our two, like something as stupid as threads. Something as stupid as a special screwdriver. Like I'm saying in a literal toolbox, but I'm saying maybe some type of understanding of the color code system or the gongs. Like,
yeah. And, you know, getting back to that idea of like, you know, is it compatible? You know, is what I'm dealing with compatible? You want to go down and you meet these people because you want to have a better understanding of what actions they're going to take prior to your arrival. A lot of these places are going to have emergency response hazmat teams that are specific to the crap that they're dealing with, and you want to know what is going to be done before you arrive so you can pick up from there. The idea that we're going to be making contact with the factory, the industrial complex, to find out what our shortcomings are is actually a pretty important step, right? Everyone's first due area is going to be unique in some way, shape, or form. It is so super critical that you know ahead of time what your limitations are, right? And if you know what your limitations are, and then what's the best way to describe this? If you can understand what your limitations are, then you can get your team up to speed with training and equipment. Training from us. I'm going to throw that in there. And you want to get them the equipment up to speed as soon as possible, because that's a deficiency where somebody's going to get hurt. This information, by the way, you know, if you're sitting there going, oh, well, you know, we do need this equipment, but it's not going to be well funded. The fact that you have this threat could absolutely have an impact on grant funding and the overall success of the operation.
The company gives you the equipment and saying, because I've done so many of these trainings, and just to come off the side of this thing is like, they seriously like, oh, well, the first responders will take care of it. And we tell the first responders, like, there's experts in there, and they're like, I'm not an expert. I'm an expert when it's normal.
Right.
You're an expert when it's not normal.
Yeah. Like, my expertise is pushing this button when the temperature hits 45 degrees. That's my expertise. Oh, yeah, I put on a suit and I clean it up if it spills, too. That's my expertise. That could be what I've walked into facilities that it's just like that. And then I've also walked into facilities where the guys knew every detail of the operation. Right. So,
and so that brings you, like, that knowledge, all those parts brings you to the point where now you can get a pre-plan and you can get an SOP for your first due company, and you can expand that.
Yeah. Because your pre-plan and your layout of the information is going to be not only critical to the hazmat team, but your first due units arriving on scene. So that is a twofold operation.
Right. So this robust understanding of all the hazards that are involved in this facility, now it's more unlikely that a commercial industry is just going to randomly have one of these organic peroxides floating around and no other hazard whatsoever. So what we're saying is, when we respond with an all hazards mindset, right? We're thinking with, what do they say? Head on a swivel, right? You're thinking very, very wide angles.
All hazards.
Right. So understanding what the other dangers are around, as well as understanding what materials are around at this organic peroxide, could react with it and make it super duper critical.
Yeah.
Which is not really a term.
It is now.
Now it is.
If we said it, it's a term.
There you go. Put it in the books.
And we talk about the facilities, but honestly, transportation setting is not really much different. We sit here and we think about all the different materials that are on our roads, and a lot of the departments and teams, they forget that they're actually entitled to look at that commodity flow chart to see what is going through their area, both in highway as well as rail. Doesn't mean anything if you don't have rail, but if you have rail, it's an important thing to know. So you might be sitting there thinking, oh, I don't have any major facilities. I don't have any kind of industry. Yet you have no idea that your community is smack dab in the middle between the people who produce the peroxide and the end users who might end up using the peroxide. So the Komodo dragon is a wonderful dragon. The commodity flow chart it's an incredible resource that is accessible to you. It should be something that you try to get regularly, right along with those tier reportings.
Yeah, and even making contact with the people in these industries, even if they're outside of your district or jurisdiction, like reach out to them and say, hey, listen, we like to make contact with your facility director. You'd be surprised at how much, once they feel comfortable and they have an interaction with you, and they're like, oh, this guy's here to shake me down. Because I'll be honest, when we were doing building inspections, we would go out on the roads. They didn't want to tell us anything. They're like, oh, these guys are here to write you tickets. And as soon as they're like, no, I'm just here to help you, help me, help you. And they're like, oh, all right, let me show you where all the bombs are buried.
Right. Okay, now here's your ticket.
Totally cool. I'm not writing them tickets, they want to help you and they want to give you a lot of the same information. And so that plugs into your response plans for an emergency.
Yeah. Like what resources do they have available as the transportation company? What do they have additional vehicles? Do they have additional equipment? Do they have pumping apparatus? They're going to be set up. If they're transporting this material, there's a really good chance that they already have contingency plans set up.
Exactly.
Plug into that shit. That's a resource.
Like they're going to be planning for a leaking transportation vehicle. If they're plugging vehicles in or out, they're going to have some type of way to contain a vehicle that loses it, right? And so all this information gives us good information for tactics and operations.
Right, because containing organic peroxides, actually, it really presents a very unique challenge due to the reactivity and that potential for the explosive reaction, especially if they lose their cool, they lose their refrigeration, they're going to go. So we really need to establish effective containment measures to prevent the spread of the material, minimize the exposure to risk, and protect the nearby structure as well as the environment.
Now, sometimes we don't have the luxury of this, but if you have the option, the peroxide should be stored out of direct sunlight and away from any heat sources. If you think about your hydrogen peroxide for the boo-boos, it's in a brown bottle, because sunlight breaks it down. And if you have strong enough stuff, that photon, that light that's coming in there is breaking the bonds, causing the exothermic heat, brings it up, and the feedback cycle starts. But with the boo-boo stuff, it's kind of low-grade stuff. But steam pipes, heaters, hot materials, some organic peroxides may even require refrigeration or even freezing. That's extreme, though.
Yeah. And you know what shit I don't know off the top of my head?
What?
I have no idea what the actual steel overpack drums that we use. I don't know what they're actually made of. I don't know what pop-up pools are actually made of. I don't know what those materials actually are. And when we start talking about containment, when we start talking about how to minimize the leak, the organic peroxides are so reactive that this is information that we need to know. So I certainly don't know that off the top of my head, and that means I might have to make a phone call to find out. But who the hell makes our pop-up pools? How do I get that information, right? That's going to be a challenge for even the best resource tech ref or science officer out there.
That would be a very exciting discovery. Wow. That was spicy.
And I bet you at 2:00 in the morning, your pop-up pool company doesn't have a manufacturer, just kind of no, not at all.
Well, also decontamination, right? And this is a major point, is that after the incident involving an organic peroxide, decon of affected areas and equipment is necessary to ensure that the safety of the responders and prevent contamination of the environment. So proper decontamination procedures are essential, but it can be time-consuming and require specialized knowledge and resources, which brings me to a point.
Yeah,
So anyway.
professional? Okay. We'll go with it.
Oh, personal.
Personal. All right. All right. So what are some of the dry decon? Jesus Christ, there I go again.
Here we go.
What are some of the decon methods that are available for the peroxides? Obviously, aside from, first lining yourself, the physical removal of the material. The physical removing techniques literally involve that. It involves physically removing the organic peroxide from the contaminated surface or the equipment. This can include such techniques as wiping, scraping, or rinsing with water or some kind of suitable soluble liquid. And it is absolutely essential that we exercise caution when using water or any solvent, as many of the organic peroxides out there will react violently with almost anything.
Yeah, so I'm personally of take it off. And I've heard people go, oh, there's modesty issues. When you're burning, there is no modesty issues.
Oh, no.
Let it hang, bro. Let it hang. You're hanging. I don't want to go into it. It doesn't matter. But dilution. Dilution is a technique that involves diluting the organic peroxide with water or other suitable liquids to reduce its concentration and reactivity. The problem is that a lot of times with dilution, it's not always a solution. The dilution factor is so crazy that it might not be the thing. So if we are doing this, it's achieved by applying large volumes of water or diluted solution onto the affected area. Okay, it's not like swimming in a bath, but it's crucial to ensure that the proper containment and control of the diluted solution into a container, which brings you back to Mike's thing. What is the container made out of? Now that you say that, it's those pop-up things, the ones that I see out in like California and stuff like that, those are like tarps. Those are like the blue tarps you'd find at Home Depot.
Yes.
Formed into a pool, like a cardboard thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell those tarps are made of. It's some plastic.
Even our pop-up pools, which were really heavy grade material, clearly coated with something. I have no idea what they are.
I gotta say, I'm sorry, people out there in Wonderland. We started an episode on plastic containment, and we never finished it.
Yes,
we really
that's true.
Do that. I have that 90% of it's done.
It's in there. There. We'll take a look at it.
I apologize. Go ahead.
All right. So some of the other techniques, right? Absorption and absorption. And those two techniques, they involve taking the material and absorbing it or adsorbing the organic peroxide, helping remove it from the contaminated surface and entrapping it into something like activated carbon, clay, or any kind of other absorbent powders. This contaminated material can then be properly disposed of following the appropriate, has waste type of program.
Right. Now, another one is chemical neutralization, which be careful of doing this like, oh, I'm just going to whip up a batch of X. It's like, you got to check it out a little bit more. So chemical neutralization techniques involve using specific agents or chemicals to neutralize the organic peroxide. However, it is important to note that neutralization may not be suitable for all types of organic peroxides, as it can potentially increase the risk of reactions or hazards. So chemical neutralization should only be done and considered if it can be done safely, and compatibility and reaction risks have been thoroughly evaluated.
Yeah, steam and vapor decontamination, right? This is great to use on tools, lobsters. Love this method. And anybody who has a really cute wife, steaming them is phenomenal. Just joking. Don't use steam on anybody. That's a joke. No. We can't be sued. But steam and vapor decon techniques, they usually involve high temperature steam or vapor to decontaminate surface or equipment. This method can help remove and destroy, literally, because it's hot steam, right? What do peroxides not like? They don't like heat. So we're literally breaking down the peroxide through heat and vaporization. It is essential to ensure proper ventilation, because we are now off-gassing, right? Where we talked about that whole atmosphere now no longer exists. The product is in the atmosphere despite its vapor pressure, and safety precautions have to be in place when using high-temp steam.
Now, going back to a major point, right? We were just going through that line, but now we're going back out. Collaboration and communication, right? When we're having an organic peroxide emergency, often we require the collaboration of multiple agencies such as hazmat teams, fire department, law enforcement, environmental the coordination of this, of the sharing of information, and even establishing and keeping essential communication is essential for a successful response and mitigation of the impact of the incident. It's very hard to do that, especially if you're coming in flat-footed and you haven't talked to anybody yet.
Oh, yeah. Because I guarantee you most facilities are going to be more worried about, you know, their responsibility, financial and environmental. They have no idea who you are. Communication is key. Another key point, which would probably be, this would be number 7, is going to be the training and the preparedness, right? And I'm not talking about preparedness as like go visit the facility. I'm talking about preparedness directly involving in your training, being prepared by training. Organic peroxides emergencies, they really demand very specialized training and very specific preparedness for us, the first responder. Regular training sessions can cover things like hazard recognition, response procedure, equipment operation, incident management. Staying up to date with the latest and the best practices is absolutely crucial when it comes to overcoming challenges that are posed at incidences of hydrogen peroxide, organic peroxide. I'm going to cough again.
Cough button.
Woo. These are going to include what kinds of things should be in your training. They should include things like case studies, right? Learn from other people's mistakes, facility walkthroughs like we talked about earlier, equipment familiarization, working in the proper PPE, right? Some of the training is going to be get in the PPE, work it and use it so it doesn't feel weird when you're doing it for the first time in 3 years. And then one of the biggest things I think for this is going to be tabletop exercise-based exercises, because so much of your actions are going to be mental driven, like, you know, if this, then this, I have to make a decision, I have to think, I have to analyze. Tabletop exercises give you a phenomenal opportunity to do just that.
And finally, public safety and education and evacuation. Sorry. Although education probably could be a thing too, but depending on the scale and the severity of the incident, the first responders may need to manage evacuations and protect the public from potential hazards. So coordinating evacuation procedures, establishing safety zones, providing clear instruction to affected individuals, and requiring effective communication and decision-making skills is kind of the key to the equation. So, yeah.